nurse, and shout out to nurses and frontline workers. I've always been super impressed with her. Just badass, big heart, servant's heart, and showing up for people. But this whole pandemic has made me like just shook. And you guys know I light a candle every day. I do it for my Aunt Steffi, for the nursing home she works at, but for any one of you who have a frontline worker or someone in your family, just keep me posted on that. That's really been so near and dear to my heart, this pandemic. Okay, so back to Gemini season. So my cousin's coming on in a few minutes. I'm going to keep this quick, super Gemini-ish, but we're going to talk about it too. We just started it. Sun moved into Gemini. So now we get to experience our 2020 cycle in Gemini. What does this mean to us? Gemini is Mercury ruled. Like I said, Gemini is mutable. Gemini brings in like fresh air. It's an air sign. It's like that feeling of spring cleaning, opening your house, and like opening up a breeze or being out on a boat in the water and you feel so clear. Gemini comes to make us feel really clear, but also really energized. Gemini is naturally the curious communicator, questioning everything. Gemini has a little bit of the rebellious energy. We kind of go from Taurus rebel about building something, and then Gemini rebel is about like speaking and broadcasting and questioning everything, questioning authority, questioning the way things have been. And this Gemini season 2020 is so profoundly important because we have 4 signs in Gemini right now. And, 4 is a big number for this year. We're in 2020, 2 + 2 is 4. So Gemini, we have the North Node in Gemini. We have Mercury in Gemini right now. We have the Sun in Gemini. And of course, we have Venus in Gemini. Venus in Gemini is retrograde. And I've been hearing so many Venus retrograde stories. I mean, good and bad. My partner did a classic, like sent someone an email yesterday, kind of, saying that someone was overpriced, overcharging for their services, and he sent it to the person by accident, which was very Venus retrograde, like talking about money, worth, and that retrograde, like everyone, double check your recipients, slow down, double check who you're sending something to. And then my Aunt Steffi told me a beautiful, on this call, my godmother told me a beautiful Venus retrograde story, a really, just beautiful story about unearthing some old love letters between her and her husband from many, many years ago, before they were married, or I think before they were married. And to me, Venus in Gemini is about the love that we share and how we express that through words, and how we communicate our love, and how we speak up for our love, how we express love. And if any of you have words of affirmation as your love language, it's very Venus in Gemini. And so Venus in Gemini retrograde, we get this chance to review. It's a great time to actually reread love letters. It's a great time to review and write down what love means to you. It's a great time to reach out to someone, write them a love letter, even if it's like platonic or familial love. So we have these 4 planets in Gemini right now. And, I'm going to warn you, sometimes Gemini energy can make us a little anxious because it brings in like a jolt of a live wire. So like last night, I told you, my life wizard was like, can you just get off your phone? It's midnight. I was like trying to do so much stuff. And I felt all this like inspiration surging through me. And then I was like, okay, I had to connect back in and do some breath work, which Gemini rules the lungs. So this time of year will be a great time of year to do some breath work. And breathwork grounds us into our body and helps kind of synthesize all that information that comes out here through our crown, all that rush, all that mental energy that all of you are going to have, like tons of new ideas, innovation, creativity. And then the breath helps us kind of ground and integrate it into our body, into our central nervous system. So breathwork is going to be big for all of us. Also, Gemini is a very social sign. So Gemini as a social sign is like, we might be finding like, with the retrograde is a reword, some things might be reopening. They might be reuniting with some people, even in small doses. So I'm excited to look forward to that. And I hope that rings true. So yeah, you might be feeling a little anxious and maybe want to go like, maybe it's safe for you to meet someone now who's also been quarantined for as long as you have. We're seeing some businesses and parks slowly reopen. Very Gemini. And really this is going to be about like broadcasting your message and doing it with curiosity and questioning. And I know in the Cosmic Boss program, we're going to be talking about like the rebel into the divine messenger. Like, how do we speak on our truth? How do we find our people through our words? How do we express ourselves? How do we also, Gemini does not like anything stale or stagnant. So this is a time for all of us as we go through this 2020 rebuilding, like, what are the things that we perceived around communications, our identity, worthiness, love, around our fate and our destiny lines that maybe don't ring true anymore? Maybe they're old traditions that are outdated, old structures, and we want to have that Gemini. Like, I always picture Gemini is like that, like Alka-Seltzer bubbles, that effervescence, and it breaks up like that old block. That's that, like some of that outdated Capricorn, Saturn structures we're in. And Gemini comes like, boo, breaking that up, bringing bubbles to the surface, new energy, new innovation, new possibility. This is all very Gemini season. So I want us all to think about, like, where am I ready for some new energy? Where can I question something in my life? And also, Gemini season is fun. Like, how can I have some fun while I do it? How can I dance through life? How can I flirt with life a little bit? How can I seduce the universe a little bit? It's really like, anyone who knows Geminis is like, they're fun. They're a good time, and they're a little mischievous. Also, we want to look out for all these 4 planets in Gemini, watching out for some trickster. Mercury is the trickster of the zodiac. That's what I was saying yesterday. With, even though Mercury is not retrograde, Mercury is in Gemini, conjunct Venus, which is retrograde. And that is why my partner sent that email to the wrong recipient yesterday. And he was like, oh, he was laughing. And he's like, oh my God, I can't believe I just sent that email. Oh my God, what do I do? And I was like, all right, I'm just going to own it up and just, say, you didn't say anything that bad, but it was a little bit of a private email and it went to the wrong person. So that's the trickster energy of Mercury. Mercury is trickster, but Mercury, the trickster energy, it's like laughter energy. And speaking of laughter energy, here's my cousin Kirsten. So let's see what we have to talk about today. Hi.
Turn the volume down. I have to do that. How are you?
Good. I'm just laughing about Mercury overwhelming. Like last night I couldn't sleep, and I was like, I think it's already like Gemini energy. My mind was just like racing of all the stuff, and I'm also laughing because, like I told you, I'm wearing my Instagram ad polyester sweatsuit that I ordered.
Instagram gets me every time.
Who here has ordered something from an Instagram ad and it just arrived, and you're like, what?
Not look like what I thought I was.
I thought you need a cotton cute sweatsuit, and it's like rayon. I'm like, why would anyone want to wear rayon all day?
I told you it's fireproofing for sure.
Fire. They know maybe something I don't know, so I appreciate that.
We think she's a witch. We think
she probably has a cauldron on her desk right now as we speak, so we should probably send her some more fireproof athleisure.
That's the best thing. Fireproof athleisure.
Oh my goodness. How are you? What's going on today? I know we just spoke like 10 minutes ago.
I was doing the same thing that I was trying to explain on my thing this morning, like how my brain feels. I have a very active brain. I have a Gemini moon, and I'm just a thinker, and I love connections. I love like my, and like in the old cartoons when like the engine's like chugging along, and then all of a sudden like spring pops off, and the other spring pops off. That's the way my brain feels right now. Like, I don't know how, it's actually not a bad feeling per se. And I'm not like, I don't know how, I just feel like I'm having a hard time keeping all the sheep in the corral. I don't know how else to say.
That is very it. And I almost imagine like that cartoon, like bing, bing, and all like the springs are popping off and like the wheels falling off because the engine's like going too fast. But then like some kooky like cartoon inventor comes and like makes a better engine out of like something. A tea kettle and like a paper airplane, because like
Totally.
I know.
So I don't know what to do with it exactly. And the card I pulled this morning was Rabbit, which is not calming that energy down at all.
I was looking for something grounded, bear energy or buffalo. And it's like, bing, 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 rabbit.
Totally. I was like, what companion can I take with me today? And it was like, rabbit. And I was like, okay, so what do we do with that? And I think, you know what I was thinking actually? This woman, I took this family constellations thing. She was talking about the body and family constellations. And she was talking about, thank you. And she was talking, my daughter just gave me $100 naked wine voucher. I don't know.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I don't know where that came from.
Here you go, Mom. You've been doing really great during this quarantine. Here's $100 wine voucher.
So, I don't know what that means. Anyway, so what I mean, like I can't even stay on topic.
I feel the same. I'm like sitting here is actually like painful. I'm like,
yeah. So that's what I was thinking about rabbit. Oh, I'm holding the card still. That's what I was thinking about rabbit is that, so we're talking about the idea of the way animals shake when something like irritates them.
Yeah.
Like the way an animal like does that with their skin.
Like, yeah.
We don't do that. We're told it's not safe. We're told like it looks weird. You know, there's definitely it's definitely not a cool thing to do to like randomly vibrate yourself. Might make people uncomfortable.
I'm doing that all Gemini season.
So that's what I was thinking. I was like, actually, maybe rabbit's kind of like, there's a lot of energy moving through, and you'd actually be really well served by not holding on to it, like not thinking it's yours, not thinking that it's just an indication of the like energetic weather. The energetic weather is bubbling right now, like moving, like a little bit like popped off springy engine energy, and that's okay. Like that's just what's happening right now. And if your body is physically uncomfortable with that, honor that. Like maybe that is a shape, maybe that is like a movement, maybe we shouldn't be sitting in chairs, like something about that feels. So I was thinking today, like when you start to feel uncomfortable, like look down a little rabbit at your side and like let yourself kind of shake off the energy.
Just like let it move a little bit. I know that's I think it's so funny because I've been like kind of in quarantine, like going to bed pretty like I'm pretty exhausted from the day, or just like the winding down. Like, you know, it's not like maybe before when I was in New York City, like you come home at 11, you're like, I'm still buzzing from the city. Like now I'm like, no, I'm pretty much in a wind down starting like 9 o'clock. Last night I was like, I can't sleep. And like, I was like, I just had to bring myself through like some like box breathing because I was like, well, my like nervous system is like pinging off, which is exciting because I'm like, oh, it feels very like, you know, spring energy. We have new things that are like blossoming and like full bloom. And now we're in that like entering that summer energy, but it's not the normal summer energy. I also think all this energy is normally manifest and like, well, this is the time of year where I'm like, okay, getting stuff set up out in Montauk, going here, going there, we have graduations, we have parties, but we're
totally.
So now I'm like, what do we do? It's interesting, like the invitation, what this energy in this new like quarantine context of like this pause, awakening, shift, whatever we're in, and things are just different. Like I'm kind of curious about maybe how you feel like, okay, if we're getting these like electric, effervescent, energized like downloads, but we're not doing the things that we normally do, because I know for you it's like everyone with children, it's a really busy time of year. It's like all the end of school stuff, all the like concerts and the ceremonies, and now we're all just like, nope, just still in my house with this energy.
I know, and I think that's 100% right. Like you put that like the Mercury, what's happening astrologically, and then you put springtime, and then you put like that like achy, you have to get outside and be in the sun.
Wear a cute sundress and like be outside.
And then, but no, you have to stay here. And then also like, but you should begin to think about reintegrating, like what's the new normal going to be? And so you're thinking about like, I'll come get you in a minute. Okay. You're trying to think about what the new, like even you and I were talking about like possibly being in the car, like leaving the house, like what that's like. And there's anxiety there.
Absolutely. On top of the normal thing we would normally be dealing this year.
On top of Mercury, so it's like all these layers of energy, and it literally takes your breath away. Like if you're paying attention, it can literally take your breath away. So breathing.
Gemini rules the lungs, so breathing. I always thought like Gemini should rule the throat. Taurus rules the throat, and I never understood that when I was younger, like 3 years ago. I was younger then.
Last Wednesday.
today years old when I thought about it, but like, like, right, there's a reason why Gemini rules the lungs. It's like you said, like breathe into this, taking our breath away, all this excitement a little bit.
Totally. Totally. And I was talking to my mom about that tarot class, and she was like saying something, and I was like, it's interesting that confinement, like restriction, can actually be the place we birth our most creative, like fulfilling, beautiful art.
Absolutely.
Right. So if you like think about and this is where nervous system work, breath work, all that stuff starts to matter. Because again, you're talking about, and we talked about this a while ago, right? The capacity for you to hold this energy.
Mm-hmm.
It is life force. It is chi. It is kundalini. I mean, it is like generative, life affirming energy that's coursing through our bodies.
Yeah.
Our capacity to be with that makes all the difference, right? Makes all the difference between a blowout and it goes back to Gay Hendricks.
Yeah, I was gonna say, bring it on home, Gay.
So like the idea that fear is excitement without the breath.
I know we started talking about that for, like last week, as like we were talking about some Gemini things, and that is one of my Gemini season like mantras. And that I literally thought that last night as I couldn't like sleep, and I was so like wound up, and I was like, this is all excitement. Like, yeah, things are kind of reopening, things are moving, like you're kind of gonna leave the house tomorrow to do something for a day. Like you have a lot of like fun creative mental projects, like launching all these things, and they're all spinning, and I was like, just breathe. It's all like new energy, but now it's getting almost like congested in your crown chakra, and it's like short circuiting. And I was like, breathe, pull it in, pull it out, and it doesn't have to live just here. Like your whole body that can handle it for you.
And the breath allows it to feel so good, actually. Like when you can actually breathe it down and relax around it. So that's where like the shaking comes in, and the like let your body adjust to it the way your body wants to adjust to it. But it actually feels like life. I mean, it feels really good. It feels like, oh my God, I'm alive.
Yeah.
And life is moving, and I'm growing, and there's like
it's exhilarating.
More to experience, and total exhilaration, right?
Yeah.
And you can feel it in every cell of your body if you allow it to feel good, if you trust yourself to hold it. Right. So it's like to pull that energy down feels really important. And there's something else you just said that made me think of. Can't remember. It'll come back. But it is like, it is exciting. I mean, it is like new. And the other card that fell out of that deck was the golden egg. And like the thought was like, if you can hold this energy, there's something really beautiful getting like built in you. Through this.
And that's interesting. And I know you are like the numerology queen. We collectively should pick your brains on that more here. But I was thinking about when you're talking about the container, I was like, wow, that's so interesting. All this excitement and all of this new energy coming in this container, and like in this maybe like vessel of like this egg. And thinking about, obviously we're in this like 4-year, like building this 4 thing. We have like 4 planets retrograde right now. So we're in right now, again, the astro weather, and we have 4 planets in this Gemini energy. So it's like, here's the container, like get the container ready.
Yeah, and that's like where it's so simple, but gravity is always, the earth is always a container. You can always feel the fact that gravity has you. You can always feel the 4 walls of your room. You can always feel your breath. You can like your lungs in your heart. Like that is, and I think that's what I was saying with one of the things that we have to get used to doing is, especially with all this Mercury energy, is we clamp down on our thoughts. We literally, our brain, our head literally constricts around the thinking. That's that like looping, I can't fall asleep thinking. And so it's like even that intention of like, I actually trust that nothing's going to get away. I trust that like,
oh my God, that is such a good mantra.
Right? And nothing is going to disappear. Like I don't need to hold every one of these.
Oh my God. At all of my Mercury.
We do that. Even in spiritual work, we're like, you had that inspiration, don't forget it, because if you forget it, it's like that doesn't work that way. Like this is what's here now, and I'm going to soften around it, and I'm going to trust that it's going to come back.
You just described like somehow in this Instagram live, you just came to like the morsel that is like my like part of my must be my soul path to figure out my karmic thing. Because I think anyone who's heavily Mercury ruled, so Virgo or Gemini, like sun, moon, rising, Mercury. It's like that. And I have to like release that. Like I will be, trying to meditate or in a yoga class or just doing something with my partner or something where I'm trying to just be alive and present. And I'm like, the ideas are circulating. I'm like, I have to write that down right now. And I've been trying to relax into like, it's not going anywhere. And that was last night. Cause like tonight I'm doing astrology lecture and more like the basics of the chart. So I'm like, I was like trying to fall asleep. And I was like, don't forget to talk about how cusps aren't real. Like, I was like, don't forget to talk about like Delaney. Like, I was like, what? Like, and I was like, I want to keep writing this down, but actually like, if it's meant to be there in the lecture tomorrow, I guess I'll have to trust that it'll be there when I sit down in the morning to write. So that is like that for anyone who has this Gemini energy or a lot of third house energy in your chart, like please, like what Kirsten just said is like, that's what I've been trying to just like breathe into so much for the past like kind of like 6 months, but because that's why I feel like my list and I'm like writing things down, just like, and you're kind of like present, but your back of your mind's like,
yeah, that's the rabbit too, is like, this energy is not mine. I'm just in the environment and I'm taking in, like I'm feeling out and I'm feeling what's there and I'm trying to like make sense of it and figure out what it means for my body and my path.
Yeah.
Very my rabbit grass eating ways. But like it exists outside of me. Like that's part of the shaking off. Like I don't want to hold it for everybody else. I don't need to hold it for everybody else. Just doing my best with my little body, and I'm gonna trust it to like keep moving. So so that rabbit,
that hopping.
I was on my tarot class. Lisa was
Lisa just said hashtag queen of notes.
I know. And she was like, what'd you say exactly? I want to write it down. And I was like, I'm the same way. I love, like, you get those little tidbits and you're like, oh, it's a gem. I want to write it down.
Especially when you feel so much. Cause like you just said something in a sentence that explains and articulates this big feeling that I can't put into words right now. So that's why words are so fun.
And my heart is like saying yes to that, So I get that, but at the same time, that's like a self-trust exercise. I'm gonna be. Oops. Sorry, my phone's on. I'm gonna have exactly the information I need. I'm gonna be where I need to be. I'm not gonna lose anything, right? So thank you, Lisa.
This is so good.
That idea of like just letting it. And I did the same thing. I was on a call with my teacher yesterday and he said something and I was like, write that down, even though I'm not supposed to have any distracting. So I was supposed to be like consciousness, like, holding, clarity. And I'm all like writing.
That's me. Like sitting with someone, I'm like, this is the most like cosmic ritual write-up passage like in our shaman school. We're going through something. And my teacher was like doing this thing over us and talking about like, this all these like things he's activating in our energy field, but he's talking about them so poetically and he's like, it was so beautiful. And I found myself like, I really want to remember what he's saying, but I'm also in this like hyper cosmic moment of like, and that's where I'm like, I just trust like, and you'll retain things by transmission that you need to, like it's okay to have the word for word, or like you'll transmit it and synthesize it when you're ready, like even if it's a year from now or 10 years from now, but like I don't understand his like 1 hour poetic soliloquy and like, that's okay, not in every detail, but I'm just laughing because in both of my courses that we're doing, we have so many like Virgo and Gemini, everyone's curious and wants to learn. So it makes sense. And we have to like, we were talking about our office hours. We're like, it's okay just to like, keep asking like, I think Lexi's watching this and she was saying like, okay, what's some other like podcasts that I can listen to about this? And what kind of this? And I'm like, oh, I get it. I've been there. Like, I love astrology and tarot. Now I want to listen to every podcast and write down every note. But there's also just like again, energy, just like it's outside of you and it will move through you in the ways that you need. And also like the self-trust too, a little bit of like, oh, I mean, I am, truth be told, just took notes on 2 things you said. So it's not like I figured this out. My Mercury is in Virgo. I have a North Node Gemini, Sun in Virgo. So like, I'm not saying I figured this out, but it's such a good reminder.
But John and Kendra, two of my teachers, are so harsh about this. And they say that if you're writing it down, you're actually not listening. And that if you're writing it down, it's actually a closure. So they're like,
damn,
not mean per se.
They have had
but they're very fierce about it.
Very fierce. Wow.
Very fierce about
Okay.
it.
Okay.
So I try to like soften that, but I also, same thing. I have the part of my Scorpio is like, I know, I feel it.
Same.
I feel what you're saying.
Pisces moon.
My Gemini is like, please footnote that they said it this way.
Footnote that syntax was lit.
I would like a Zoom recording of my shamanic initiation, please.
I'm like looking at my phone, like, is it inappropriate to start recording this right now? I know, and I think that's the feeling and making space for it all, because I think there are people like you with your Gemini moon and me with my Virgo and the Mercury placements. Like there is the wordsmithing and the art of words that are really important to us. So they're like words are that's what I love. They're my gems.
Yeah.
They're the things that I love talking,
It's
connecting,
a
I love
transmission
learning.
for you.
It's a transmission. Something that's also like honoring. Like I'd be so curious what Kendra and John's birth chart. Maybe they're just like, no, like we're just here for the soul earth transmission. Like, and we're over there like air, Mercury energy. Like, but
I'm glad you feel it in your root, but could you just repeat that again so I can write it down? Like, I don't know.
Totally. Oh, it's so good. I know. I really the fourth thing and the container for all this energy. Yeah.
That's what you're saying about the fourth thing. I think that's so interesting. Okay, so the other thing that my mom was talking about, I had such a busy morning already. My mom was talking to me about chariot energy, and I've been thinking a lot about
this morning.
This morning, yeah. I mean, like
our families line up
before 9 a.m. But so we were talking about, and remember I keep telling you, I keep thinking of the word sorcery.
Yeah, how could I forget?
It keeps popping in my head like sorcery, and in that husky Long Island accent. But so I keep thinking about it, and I think about it in relationship to the chariot, and the idea of the chariot is literally what we would call sorcery. But if you took the value judgment off of that, so what that means is that our will, our container, our Saturn, our Emperor. Our Jupiter even, right? Like the part of us that directs our Mercury, our Mars, right? Like our directive power. That when you allow that to have full access to your desires, so you like unify the part of you that is just a heart yearning to express itself, to be itself, to be of the world, to make art, to exist, to feel all that exhilaration of being alive. When you harness that through Mercury, through language, through words, through focus, it becomes this like laser beam of manifestation where whatever it is that you are channeling towards, it becomes inevitable. It's not escapable, for better or for worse. Like where your attention focuses, when you harness your heart, the energy of your heart through like the container of your drive, it's magic. It really will create for you. And my mom was telling me the story about when the guy broke the 3-minute mile. And she was saying how he described it like a Rubik's Cube. Yeah. Like the whole world is like clicked into place, and he just did it effortlessly. It was just like, no, this is where I'm supposed to be, and I'm just gonna make this happen with no effort on my part. That's the energy of the chariot. Like I prepare, I clarify my field, I focus my energy, I yearn for this within the deepest part of my heart. And I'm willing to recognize what I yearn. I'm not hiding it or pretending it doesn't exist. I'm going to be totally vulnerable in how much I want this. Yeah. And then it also propels me forward. It's really interesting. So back to what we're saying, this golden egg and this Mercury energy, this is a year for us to figure out what the weak spots in our foundation are. Who knew saying that in December, what that was going to mean, that we were like, did I say foundations? I mean, like literal foundations.
We're not talking like breezy, metaphorical.
Body, like everything you thought you could rely on, we're just gonna test it. Like who knew that was gonna happen? But it's happening. That's partially what's happening, right? And then the opportunity is like when we rebuild, that we rebuild on something that's truly sustainable and truly supports everyone and truly clean and clear and stable. That's what the 4-year offers us, right? So this retrograde moment, it's actually like if you can let that energy again, like move through, it's not mine. I'm just with it. I'm connected to the environment. I'm feeling it, but I'm gonna like I'm going to make a clay art of it as I see fit.
Mm-hmm.
You're building something really beautiful. Like whatever that is that you end up creating becomes something, imbued with a real foundational like heft and strength.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
And very clarifying. I feel like the retrograde right now is like, okay, like you had something that came up, over this last year, last 6 months, the last 8 years, whatever, and it's gonna come up now and like ask, like I think about that chariot card and what you were talking about. I always think about the chariot of like staying in that like taut alignment, like and that like what is my alignment? What does that feel like to me? And then how do I have my like thoughts, words, actions like align with what's true to my heart and like stay in that tautness. I always picture like a water skier. Like my job is just to keep my core tight and my head and my feet and then lean back a little bit. So it's like, and it'll take me, and I think this retrograde is like coming to be like, okay, like that's your alignment that you've tuned into. And now maybe this container of this quarantine has helped you figure that out. So now we're going to give you some old feelings, and are you going to allow it to like move through you and soft and lean back, and that we're going to like grip on or lose that balance. So I think that's such a beautiful illustration. I think the chariot card ties in so deeply to like at the Jupiter, Saturn, like the container and our integrity and our structure. And then with this, like, I almost imagine the Mercury is somewhere like in between those two, like between the outer and then that container.
The charge, like the charge.
It's the charge. Right? That's the like the boat pulling you. That's just like the air pulling you, like the speed of it. And I really think that's a great invitation because, like you said, this is going to be a lot of energy and a lot of new things coming up, and the ability to breathe into it. And like, I love what you said about like the things that you really want. I forget how you said it, but like wanting without apology or recognizing what you want in your heart.
Like owning what your heart's really calling for, right? Because we don't.
Yeah,
because
like
it's scary. Because we want it so bad. If it's your heart's
Right.
yearning, then it's the thing you want most.
So vulnerable.
And what if I say it and I don't get it? What if I admit how deeply I want this, how much this like calls to me, and then it doesn't happen, right?
Yeah.
So I get it.
So,
but at the same time, like to be willing to be with it is the beginning of it, allowing the possibility of it.
Allowing.
Right? Because if you don't say it, it's definitely not going to happen. But at least if you're willing to kind of say it, well, I said it, I did my part, ecstasy of co-creation, trusting the boat to pull me, trusting the energy of you, trusting that the divine does not put a yearning that deep and that true in your heart unless it wants to see you fulfill it. Like unless
why would you have that? Why would you have that? And this all goes back to, who I'm going to bring up, Gay Hendricks, like talking about like, there is that thing in us that thinks like, oh, I'm inherently flawed. I shouldn't have that thing. But he says no, like what, like, of course you're here to do that thing. Why would you have made this contract to do this and have that be the thing that lights up Kirsten's heart and belly, like if it wasn't meant for you? But you have to let it out. Like I think with that quote, like hope is the thing that perches on the soul with wings. Like, and it's like wings. If you have to like let the wings like out, like opening her wings is very vulnerable. It's like, well, now here's my heart, and like letting it outside of me, and like this like wing concept, like, oh, now it's just flying out there outside of me. But you have to almost have that first like, there's that reaction to keep it like here, and then just like so these are all just like really beautiful things to meditate on and think about, and things that I've been super present for me.
I love what you said about the water skier too. That's like a huge image, this idea of leaning back, because how much do we want to just lean in and like take care of it? And so to lean back is a really good practice. And the other thing that just popped in my head when you were saying that was to actually take this retrograde period to think about how far you've come. Like that's the thing we forget. Like we sit in the space we're at and we're like, oh, it's always been this. Like it's always been this. This has always been my struggle.
Yes.
But if you're on this path and you've been trying to be more present with yourself and more present with whatever this desire is, whatever the thing is that's burning in your soul, and you look back a year, look back 5 years, like feel yourself, feel how different you are, feel what you are becoming, look back a week, like that I think is just it's just an important acknowledgement of like how brave you are and how
resilient you are,
how much you desire life, right? Like, it's beautiful.
Yeah, like that's the thing that keeps why you're still here. Like there is something in you. So I think that's a really beautiful reminder. And the thing that you said about like if there's something you've always been working on, and there's something that you felt like you've been, it's the thing, we all know the thing that we come back to on the spiral. We hit it again and we're like, my thing is always like still this, like I'm still working on this, these boundaries, this thing, that worthiness, that mindset thing. There's something about, especially right now with like the North Node in Gemini, which is like a huge like place that we have Gemini season every year, luckily, but this, and then with this Venus like in Gemini cycle kind of completing from 8 years that we talked about last time. There's really truly this thing of like, it doesn't have to be, there's a curiosity of like, does it still have to be like this? Like, I don't think so. And question all those questions of Gemini, all in air. I was talking about like the image I had this morning is like this like Alka-Seltzer tablet of something that feels hard and dense. It's like, this is it. This is how it is. This is the thing I carry around on my head and my heart. And then like this Gemini, these like 4 planets in Gemini are coming to like break that all up. And it's like, but you have to ask and poke and like get curious and be like, why? Which involves looking dead on and straight on at our feelings and our big scary desires. Like, and really sitting with them. So.
Oh my God, yes. And this thing came up, I pulled the mask card the other day and maybe it was yesterday. Each day feels like a lifetime, but like whatever the day was. And the thought that came to me was, and Kim Krantz talks about this in her book, but I've never seen the mask this way. But the mask is the one we can wear to think that we deserve what we want, right? So this idea of like, well, whatever the thing is, like whatever the thing is that you don't feel worthy of, or the thing is that you feel like, well, maybe that's out of my reach or that's for other people. Well, then put on the mask of those other people and dress that way and move that way.
Yes. And this is archetype work. That's that like,
right.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I might wonder about this, but my Empress knows that there's no reason for me not to get exactly what I want when I want it, right? Like, and to just be willing to take that on, because that's part of what you're saying about that Alka-Seltzer tablet that you're carrying around. Like, this is the way I hold this thing, and that's the only way. See, I've been doing it for years, and I know how it works, right? And then it's like the Empress comes in, and she's like, whatever, throw it in the river. Right?
Like, so feed me my grapes, throw it in the river, and get me a paycheck.
But all that's like inside of us. And so the idea that you can like take those, Gemini is like the perfect energy for that.
Perfect.
Right? Like, oh, you think you play it this way? What if you played it that way? Yeah. You know?
I always say Gemini is just, to me, is like, who says who are the first 2 questions to ask. Like
totally.
Who says that I have to have that thought? And like, I can't do that, like, says who? And then this thing of like, so Gemini is so fun, and it's such like, the different energies of Gemini, so mutable. And, I love the work that you do with archetypes and your tarot work. And, in our Cosmic Boss, like we end every module by like dressing up as the energy of the visionary or the rebel, because like it all exists in us, but we get so in our Alka-Seltzer tablet hard mold, like, this is me. I am the responsible one. I am the whatever one. And it's like, actually, no, I'm the wild one. I'm the sovereign one. I'm the Empress one. I'm the emperor. And I love that as like, especially right now for this Gemini season, it'd be a fun invitation to like pull out some cards, pull out some new energies, or like even like celebrities. I always like every season I talk about the celebrity. So everyone knows Gemini, my celebrity archetypes. I mean, obviously I'm gonna shout out Colin. He's my micro celebrity. I'm like being more like Colin of Queer Cosmos.
He counts a lot.
He counts. I'm like, just when I need something, like, just that clarity, like, give me that Colin clarity. Like, but then in terms of celebrity embodiment, we have 2 things that Stevie Nicks.
Yeah.
And then Naomi Campbell. That's the energy I want to bring into this Gemini season a little bit. Have you ever watched an interview with Naomi Campbell?
She's just like, judge on making the cut with Tim Gunn and Heidi Klum right now. Oh my God.
Like, I do not think that I embody that energy at all, but I can actually. And that's what Gemini season is. Teach like the effervescence, like, who says I can't be like Naomi a little bit? And I mean, it's going to feel a little like awkward, like trying on your mom's clothes that are like too big when you're little, but I am I was like, I'm excited to like just channel that a little bit this Gemini season, try it on for
I love
size.
that. That's how I feel about Cardi B. I don't know if she's Gemini, but she's my like. If I could just have a little bit more Cardi B in me, I feel like I would be unstoppable.
Right? And like just like all this Kirsten amazing goodness, and then I'm just gonna like anchor it a little bit, like it's just
The
a
part
few
of me is like
drops.
freaking out. My nails aren't done in this, which my nails are not Cardi B's nails, but I still am like, I just want a little red.
I know, a little red, Cardi B, like, and also, I mean, I knew her whole chart. I've done it before. I think that she's a Libra, but I bet you she has like some Aries and Gemini in her, because the way that she talks and just like her Instagram lives and the stuff that she says that has nothing to do with her career or anything, but just how she talks on things. Like her ripping the government a new a-hole about taxes last year was like, I was like, can we just put this and like package this as something to give to the Senate and House? Like, so yeah, it's so cute. But yeah, and I think
even when we like get dressed up to go out with our girlfriends, we're not doing that. We're not playing any roles right now. Just beautiful, amazing, freedom. All the women who are like, I'm never wearing a bra again, right? But then we're also not playing any roles because we're in our Instagram athleisure. You know, we're not
totally
getting that feeling of like when we go out and get to dress up in a way when I'm with you and the girls that like I wouldn't dress up with my girlfriends, or I get to be with my girlfriends in a way that I wouldn't be
this
with.
time last year we were literally having a theme parties and like
purple party.
We had a purple party and like we had like all, and like, you know, I got to have channel my inner Brittany and like I missed that. I know. And I actually did.
And that's like, we laugh about that, but that's so healing.
It's so healing.
I was staying in Nashville last weekend with my girlfriends from college. Like I had a whole plan with like cowboy boots and like cute nails.
So cute and like fringe probably.
I might even have bought a hat. I don't know.
I know. No. And I was supposed to be going to my first ever astrology conference this weekend. And I literally planned some like really dorky, like galaxy theme, like a really cute, like, so I knew I was gonna take pictures all weekend too. So I was like all excited. And like we have to honor to the dressing up. And I did it the past 2 days actually. I just was like, I'm gonna wear a dress around the house. And like I did a little like hair curl. Cause I was like, I just kind of miss that mask and saying it in the most positive way possible. Of like, oh, look how like I shine and dazzle. Like when I just put on a little like lip gloss and like mascara and a cute little, I'm missing my like my thirst trap moment. Like my spring is when I usually like get my hair done, get my spray tan, wear a dress for the first time, put on little cowgirl boots, and now I'm just like, I miss that. So invitation to everyone to play with that.
To like give that just some spiritual heft for us all. Like David Deida talks about the fact that when we're born, we have a way in which we want to express ourselves in a more feminine way or a more masculine way. And they say that a feminine child, like a child, a boy or girl, a child who wants to express their feminine more, they want color and light and sparkle and makeup and like glitter, and they want to wow the crowd. Like that's their heart's yearning is to do that. And a little masculine child, their heart's yearning is actually to face death. So they want to race cars really fast. They want to go to war.
Right.
They want
play G.I. Joe.
And then we're told for whatever reason, on whatever level, that that's wrong. So we wrap it in a shell. We wrap that sparkly heart in the shell of the little girl who can perform really well at school, right? And like get it done and can stand line and can keep it tight and all that, right? And then that gets wrapped in the shell in high school because she wants to be pretty for the boy. Like it's a whole thing that happens. But there's like a basic energy in all of our hearts. The part of us that wants to face death and the part of us that wants to radiate light. And so like that, this idea of a mask or like dressing up with our girlfriends or getting our nails done, like we can kind of say that it's, you could call it frivolous, you could call it like a performance, but actually at its heart, it's an expression. Like it's an expression of something, again, truly in your heart that says, I want to shine and light up the world. I want the world to be a more lovely, light-filled place because I exist.
Exactly.
You know?
And I think that's, you know, just speaks to for everyone the intention, the why. You know, asking who says who. Why do you want to do this? Do you want to dress up because you think you have to do this like performative dance of femininity that doesn't feel good to you, or do you want to have an outward expression of your inner, like what the feminine brings to the table, sparkly energy, beauty, like. Ooh, that's just like, you know, when you watch a woman go by, ooh, a beautiful, or like flowers or like things from nature. And like, I want to create more of that in the world. And I want to have all my totems of the feminine on me. And so like, yeah,
right, Audrey, that's like really interesting though. Like, why did you love the woods? Like because the woods probably nourished you and fed you in a way that maybe other parts of the world weren't. And they kind of like were with you in a way that was really clear. And so that's you could say that that's actually David Deda's world, regardless of whether it's true or not. David Deda would say that that's actually your masculine sense yearning for freedom, like, and your feminine yearning to be taken and loved just the way you are. Like, with the animals, I don't have to be anything. I don't have to pretend anything. I can just be my full self, and I'm loved for that. I'm seen for that. I'm recognized for that. That's another aspect of that. So it doesn't mean you have to wear sequins,
right?
But this idea of like dancing with the world, like, and I think about, I've had a meditation that's similar to that, where I've just moved through the woods, and I've noticed that that I please the trees. I know it's kind of a weird phrase,
no, I love
but
that.
I've had this thought of like walking through the woods, and the fact that my vitality, my movement pleases nature, like pleases the world. Like, I'm nourishing the trees the way the trees are nourishing me. My movement and their stillness kind of dance together. So it doesn't have to be Cardi B style.
It can be Cardi B.
But there is a way in which like our movement lights up the world, our being, our radiance lights up the world, and it can happen in lots of different ways.
Totally, I love that. I love picturing, like when you're younger and you go in the woods and you just kind of want to like dance with the trees and make a little like hut out of leaves and then collect little stones. Like, to me, also the nature things, like how when you're little, you just like are drawn to like, oh, I just want to keep like totems of that nature experience with me at all times. Like, we all have like, our windowsills like covered in like the shells and the pebbles we found, and like just delighting in playing in nature. I love that. I love that the trees, that like, I think that's a beautiful meditation. The tree is like just being pleased and just delighting in your presence there. But yeah, so many things to think about for Gemini season. And
that's the woods and Salt House. Like, I think the woods at Salt House are like
totally. I mean, absolutely. All the good energy you're bringing to that property, they're like, yay. I mean, whenever I'm there, I feel like they're like celebrating, and there's just this, again, like beautiful,
celebrating. Oh, so
like
cool.
Energize. All these E words come to me for Gemini season, but like thinking about what that feels like in the trees, like, okay, we're in the woods, and like what we get to experience. I would just invite everyone to think about this time, like, what is that like for you? Like, do you want to go in nature and feel energized by it? Do you want to delight and put on a show? And that duality, the giving and receiving, like maybe you want to go do both, or do it in a meditation, and holding space. That's where all the Gemini like energy comes from, is like we was talking about. It's like the tautness of the two things, like exploring both of that. So it's so good. Both and. Yeah, exactly. That's it. That's the. Remember you took all your improv work, just like both. Yes, and is the Gemini season. Yes, and says who?
Yes, I am a respected spiritual teacher, and I am Cardi B.
Yes, exactly. And deal with it. Exactly. Yes, and I want to never wear a bra again. I'll never wear a bra again. But yes, and I am going to put on a sequin push-up bra and a go-go shorts and boots the second I get out of quarantine. It'll be the most uncomfortable outfit ever, because it's also nourishing me. Yeah, I love that dichotomy and paradox. And I know, actually, just thinking to tie it all together, Gemini is a lot about, I was thinking of the balance of intuition and intelligence. And that's I think it's such a container for both,
my life is very Gemini. There's a lot happening.
There's a lot happening, lots of Gemini activity. But I think about that. They say like the number one indicator, and I don't know if this is true, for like measuring intelligence is like the ability to hold like two opposing thoughts and like paradox. And I think about that a lot too, with like intuition and spirituality, because you have to. Because like life is just walking contradictions, or like millions of shades of gray in between the black and white. And I just think that's such a good, like the underlying, like, this is what Gemini season is teaching us, how to expand the container for all of that.
And then the number one rule of hypnosis is that that's the way you go into trance for yourself and other people, is you actually ask someone to hold two opposing ideas at the same time. That actually drops you immediately into trance. So if I say to you, Maddie, I want you to hold on and let go at the same time, you automatically go into a trance. That speaks for itself.
Wow.
Right? That is the ultimate loosening of our grip.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
so
I'm gonna hold on and let go at the same time. It settles my conscious brain immediately and allows me to drop into what else is happening in my body. It's kind of cool.
That's so cool. Oh, I love that. Okay, amazing. So great. So that is a pretty broad invitation of all the energies of Gemini, helping me just wrap my head around that rabbit energy that was just like rabbits bouncing through my brain last night and this morning.
Totally.
I'm gonna go
Yeah,
back
shake it
to my
off.
breath.
Don't hold
Yeah,
on to
just
it.
shaking it off. I know, I love that. Those I took a little course on like those tuning forks that we use. And they said that's why like tuning forks are so good for humans because we don't have that built-in response to shake off, like out of the fight or flight like reaction. We don't shake things off. So like those vibrations help like bring us back. So invitation is just shake, shake, shake. I love it.
Yeah, and after you have a trauma, after you give birth, after your body does something and you shake, you're supposed to allow it. I mean, I'm no doctor, we all know that, but the invitation is that you actually allow the shaking and that it's actually a clear.
Okay, good. I love that.
Oops, sorry, my phone's gonna die.
Okay, perfect.
We're gonna go anyway.
We're at our hour mark, so
The
that's
shaking,
perfect.
and then there was something I wanted to tell you, but I don't remember what it was. Okay, I love you.
You can text me. I'll put it in the stories. That's good for everyone. Okay. Shaking, excited. Also shaking makes me like a little kid. Like I'm excited to see you, and I'm shaking.
So excited to see you.
Okay. I love you, Mama, so much.
I love you too. Happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday.
What day is Wednesday? Is it Mercury's day? And Tuesday is Jupiter's day? Is that what?
Tuesday is Mars Day.
What's Tuesday?
Mars.
Tuesday is Mars Day.
God of War Day. That's what yesterday was like
I think
all day.
Tuesday's my lucky day of the week. That's right.
Okay. We should talk about your Mars.
I get the most done.
Yes, that's the day to get shit done. That's the get shit done day. We always say really.
Tuesday.
Tuesday. Thursday is a lucky day, like open up, expand, abundance. And then Wednesday we just chat like this about Mercury.
Yeah. Perfect.
So meta.
We should deal with the rabbits and the loose edges.
All right, I love you. Bye, Gabrielle. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Bye.
Bye, baby. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody. It's so fun. So let me know if you guys are watching this and you're a Gemini or you have anything, any questions about Gemini season. We'll be talking about it a bunch.